across the 50 states are very much not
so niche,
free,
yeah.
and some are well funded, or really
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just like,
per year.
I'm now checked, so my first is more than that.
So
Thank you so much for taking out the time today to join us for this roundtable discussion. We are delighted to take you all through the journey of the Duolingo English test towards making global education more accessible for students worldwide. We have some fascinating stats on the impact the test has had in India, and particularly with how it's grown in AP and Telangana. For those of you who are not familiar with the brand, the DT is a groundbreaking digital first English proficiency test which can be taken anytime and anywhere. To share more on this and about the test, we have Tara Kapur, who is the India Marketing Head at DT, Emma McLeavy-Wieder, Lead Strategic Engagement, and Laura Kaub, Director, DT and UNHCR University Access Program. We also have some scholars here who are part of an access program and initiated by DT and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to increase access to study abroad opportunities for students. We also have action from the UNHCR team. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Tara for a quick brand debrief.
Thank you for that. My name is Tara Kapur. I'm the market lead for the DT in India. And just to give you some context of what we'll go through today, the Duolingo English test, I'll take you through an overview of the product, what our mission is as a company, the importance of digital testing, which is something that it has made us one of the most accessible tests in the world. What our story is in India, and we'll focus a little bit on AP and Telangana in particular. And then I will throw it to my colleagues, Emma and Laura, to talk about the Access program, which is a very big part of Duolingo's mission in the market. And finally, we will have a small panel discussion with some of our scholars who are over here as well, who will share their stories and what the DT has done to help them get access to higher education. So for a quick overview, the DT is a high-stakes English proficiency test, similar to IELTS and TOEFL, for those of you that know that in the market, brought to you by edtech giant Duolingo. For most of you, you might know Duolingo. It is the world's most popular language learning app, and hence it made sense for the DT to launch, for Duolingo to launch the DT, which is a high-stakes proficiency test, given our expertise in language learning. The DT was launched in 2016 using cutting-edge assessment science, human-in-the-loop AI, and psychometrics. And what makes Duolingo really unique is our mission itself. So our mission informs everything that we do as a business. For Duolingo, our mission is to develop the best education in the world and make it universally accessible. For the DT, our mission is to use technology to lower barriers and increase opportunities for English learners everywhere. So how do we do that? We do this in several ways. One is by creating a digital test, we have become really convenient. So, this question Sir was asking me over here, which is how do you take the DT? You can literally register on our website, make a payment, and take the test anywhere at any time. You don't need to travel to a test center. You don't need to take an appointment. You can literally take it at a time that's convenient for you. And that's number one. Number two is we're a lot faster than the other options that exist out there. So it takes around 1 hour to take the test and complete the test, and you get your results within 2 days. So for a lot of students, they're running on very tight deadlines. And as a result, getting results very quickly is really beneficial for them to be able to go ahead with their application process. Number three is we're really committed to making sure our test is affordable. The DT is a fraction of the cost of our competitors, and between 1/3 to 1/4 the cost of competitors in the market. And additionally, which is a very big benefit of the DT, is that you can share the test score with unlimited number of universities at no added cost. For other tests, you tend to spend an additional fee after you've hit the first 4 to 5 universities where you've sent applications. Finally, because we use a lot of research, a lot of we use AI technology, we have different ways that we track protocols for security. This has made us a very trusted test for institutions. Because of that, over 5,000 institutions across the world accept the DT as a proficiency testing standard. And as you can see by this chart, it's been growing every single year. So when we launched in 2016, it actually, for as a fun fact, started as a hackathon project for Duolingo, and we had 50 universities accepting the DT. In 2024, we're over 5,000, and we expect this number to keep growing year on year. In particular, the US is a very strong market for us. We're nearly universally accepted in the US, with over 3,200 universities, US programs accepting the DT, including the top 98 of 100 of US News's top ranked universities in the US. Besides this, we are also accepted by all top 25 of the most popular universities for international students in their town or city where they live. Uh, there's lack of public transport in a lot of situations, or they're unable to take the time off from work or other commitments that they have in the market. Hence, having a test that you're able to take without having to book an appointment months in advance has been super beneficial for these students. So there are obviously accessibility challenges where if you look at, again, these charts, you have test centers which are available in very, very limited countries across the world versus access to the internet, which is pretty much universally accessible. So when you look at the traditional journey, a test taker needs to schedule an appointment months in advance for hundreds of dollars. They have to travel to a test center, which is sometimes, in some cases, in different countries. And then they take a test which is about 3.5 hours to complete, and then they have to wait for weeks for results. This itself is a barrier for students when it comes to applying abroad versus looking at the DT test experience where a student can literally book an appointment right now, take the test right now if they want to. If they want to wait a little longer, they can wait within 21 days, take it at a time when they feel like they can test their best, and then they get their results within 2 days. So it's obvious that one of the reasons that the DT has grown in popularity is because students prefer it. Over 70%, close to 70%. It's not only students that love digital testing. Institutions have really seen the value of digital tests as well. As you can see in this quote, we talk about how this really opens up the doors towards accessibility and hence helps universities source a much more diverse pool of students. We also have it building a factor around students who couldn't afford testing, right? So being at a more affordable price point has helped a lot of talented students get access to going ahead, which has opened doors to students who couldn't necessarily afford it in the past. And as a result, this has made us one of the world's most accessible tests. When you look at numbers in India, this is the largest market for the DT. Traditionally, the DT, historically, with over 4,500 in India, there's 4,686 different locations where the DT has been taken from in the market. And Hyderabad, which is why we're sitting here today, is the biggest market for us. Besides this, the DT has been administered in over 230 countries. And in 2023 alone, there has been almost 40,000 different locations where the DT has been taken from. So when you look at this map, you can see all of the orange spaces is basically where the DT has been taken, which acceptance. In 2023 alone, DT scores were sent to programs in over 83 different countries, which is a 9% increase from where we've been at in the past. And to focus a little bit more on the India story, we have had test takers take the DT from over 1,024 different locations in India. And majority of these scores are being shared with the top 5 countries that you see as preferred destinations for Indian students. So the UK, US, Canada, Australia, and Germany are the top 5 destinations where Indians have been seeking admission for study abroad. When you look at our top 25 cities from that list of over 1,000, there are over 7 cities and towns in AP and Telangana, which makes these our top 2 states for DT test takers in the market. I'm going to play a small video for you to give you a sense of why the test takers prefer our top choice, and we'll then throw to Emma to talk to you about our access program.
I had multiple choices for English test.
I had a deadline approaching. It was very affordable for me. I gave the DET twice, but still managed to get my scores before my deadline.
I came to know where I lack and what areas I need to work on.
DET gave me the convenience of taking it from wherever I wanted to. Like I took it from right here. I got my scores within 12 hours just by paying a little extra. It also takes just 60 minutes.
DET seemed like the perfect choice.
Over to you, Emma.
All right, thanks, Tara. So my name is Emma McLeody-Weeder. Before that, our mission is really centered around making sure that we can lower barriers for education for our test takers all over the world. And as we were thinking about that, we really wanted to think about how we could have kind of the most global reach, for students who might just be lacking the ability and funds to take a high stakes English proficiency test, and the DET was a way that we could help solve part of that problem. My colleague Laura here will talk a little bit in a minute about our Scholars Program and our wonderful scholars that are here with us today that have benefited from that. But just to give you a sense, a little bit of our mission and action and kind of what that looks like. We give out about 50,000 free test waivers a year. So that's a pretty significant investment in making sure that low-income students all over the world are able to take university entrance. These students come from over 200 different countries and territories, so we've got nearly full global reach when it comes to the students that we're assisting. And these aren't, 10% off coupons or anything like that. These are tests that are given out for free for students that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford them. In addition to supporting universities that take the DET as one of their, preferred English proficiency tests, we also work with a lot of nonprofits all over the world that are aligned with our mission and making sure that we can support low-income students all over the world. Please go to the next slide. So these are, organizations truly all over the place, kind of on every continent, that are making sure that high-talent students who are looking to seek tertiary education are able to seek it. And if we go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the history of our access program. So it's existed for about 5-6 years now. It was officially launched in 2018. We knew from the start when the DET was launched that we wanted this access mission to be front and center to kind of what we were doing, making sure that there was equal opportunity for students all over the world to take this test. So in 2018, we launched a few of our kind of inaugural partnerships with mission-aligned universities. In 2019, one of the things that we were really proud of is that we were able to partner with UNHCR to make sure UNHCR refugee documents could be an approved ID for our test, which is the only high-stakes test that's able to use UNHCR documents. And as you might assume, this is a huge barrier for a lot of refugee students. That's something we're really proud of, and making sure that we can kind of, again, be as committed to this mission of accessibility as that we can be. In 2020, we really thought how we could reconsider kind of all of the different ways that students might need a test waiver. Those can be in zones of conflict, those can be in zones of natural disaster, other kind of acute reasons why students might need additional assistance that we were able to kind of start thinking about. In 2021, we announced our partnership with UNHCR in launching this Scholars Program. We announced it on World Refugee Day in 2021. With kind of our original commitment to 4 countries, but that's since expanded in the last 3 years, which we're really proud of. And ever since then, I think we've been really working hard to not only be thought leaders in this space to make sure refugees can access opportunities, but also that we feel really good that we're sticking to our mission of making sure that any student who is looking for kind of their next step in tertiary education can use something like the DET to kind of move forward in that process. I'll turn it over now to my colleague Laura, who's our program director, to talk about why we chose to focus on refugees as part of this kind of scholars program that's under our access program umbrella.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is while the global population of students accessing university is around 40%, only about 5% of refugee students have access to higher education. And that's a terrible deficit that holds back individuals, families, communities, countries. So we wanted to help address that, and obviously partnering with UNHCR seemed like a great way to do that, to make sure that we can reach refugee students where they are, so to speak. So that's me. You don't need to read much about me, but just to explain the Scholars Program a little bit, we are not a scholar program, and so scholars who join our program receive individualized, one-on-one university and financial aid, advising and support to help them submit not only applications, provide some university readiness and enrichment programming, helping ensure the students have the information they need to be successful at the university where they get admitted. And very much in partnership with UNHCR, we help ensure that the students are able to secure their study visa and their travel documents so that they can enter wherever the new country they may be studying in. And we also provide a small amount of financial support for the gap funding that many students experience when they get a scholarship, because a scholarship might be covering tuition and dormitory and food and things like that, but what about textbooks? What about the flight? What about the visa fees? What about the cost of taking an English proficiency test? And so happily we're able to make that free, and we do give a small stipend to cover those extra costs. So just a little bit, an example of some of our scholars. You see here, these photos are scholars, like Duolingo characters, but just some examples of the sorts of students in the program, and you'll meet others in a moment. Alimas is a student from Burundi. He was a national level awarded mentor for high school students of color who wanted to pursue science and engineering. He received a full scholarship to study at the University of California at Berkeley, UC Berkeley in the United States. Sana is a young woman from Afghanistan who is a refugee living here in India, in Delhi. Sana worked full-time to support her family, and in addition made clothing and other arts and crafts and decorations from recycled materials, which she also sold to support her family. She received a full scholarship to study at Huron University in Canada. One of our scholars here in the room today is Sheikh, who is one of a few of our scholars who have been named Save the Children Child Champions, volunteer with Rohingya refugees, helping them improve their academics and complete their high school exams successfully, and Sheikh will be heading to Northwestern University in the United States this year. So that's just 3 examples of over 30 scholars in the program so far. And you can see some of the universities that they're studying at up on the screen here. So far, over 30 of the scholars are admitted and funded to study or are already studying in several different countries: in Australia, Canada, the Czech Republic, in Iraq, in South Africa, in the United Kingdom, specifically Scotland, and in the United States. So it's a global program. And if you'll indulge us, we're going to show this very short video to give you a bit more of an introduction.
From the poor environments where you
Very transparent. My family have no other option but to leave the country and take refugee in India.
I want to be somebody. I want to stand on my own.
education is actually the key for me to open doors.
Just having a degree on its own is like wealth for the family.
So once you migrate to a new country, you have to work hard. So nothing comes easy.
Everybody has a right to education.
Refugee is a circumstance, it's a situation, it's not a person.
these are students who are going to return 1,000-fold the investment that the university is making.
I got accepted to Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. So I'll be starting in September 2023.
You see, Berkeley.
Emory.
University of British Columbia.
This program is the reason why a person like myself has the opportunity to go and study in the US.
Me going to Vanderbilt University is going to send a very strong message to my fellow refugees. It's going to be a message for everything is possible.
What they see now is just the beginning of what I'm capable of becoming.
We're going to do the panel.
Thank you, Laura, Emma, and Tara. So, continuing the discussion on the program, we have some questions for the panel here. I'll start with Emma. How does the Access program fit in the DET's mission as a company, and how does this help grow the credibility of the test itself?
Yeah, so I had mentioned before, kind of the main goal is to lower barriers to education, right? And what better way to do this than to actually help folks get to university to make sure that that pathway into higher education could be done. I think when we had started discussions with UNHCR, there was an obvious match between helping one of the least well-served demographics across the world make their way towards higher education, and that was something that we really wanted to focus on. Laura is a world-class expert and has worked with students all over the world to make sure that they can find successful pathways, and so we're very, very lucky to have her join the program. But when it comes to thinking about the mission not only of Duolingo but of the Duolingo English test, I think this is just proof positive and putting it in a human context of how we can assist people make their pathway to university and start changing the world. I think the note about the fact that talent is everywhere and opportunities are not is really the most important thing to focus on. We know that there is so much talent and brilliance across many of these communities that just don't have the right opportunity to kind of move forward.
Thank you, Emma. Now,
but in the year 2022, I was gifted. I would say until and unless we try until and unless we succeed, and we should do that. And I got that from the Duolingo. And now, this year, I would say in the month of September, I will be attending Northwestern University, my dream one, and I will be doing my graduation over there, the economics, and inshallah, I will try to succeed in my life, and Duolingo has put a light on my life, that's it. Thank you.
thank you, Sheikh. I'll move on to Portia. Can you, since we are running out of time, just give us a little brief about where you've been accepted and what are your future aspirations?
Okay, hi everyone, my name is from Myanmar. I got this selection in Smith College, which is a women's college in United States, and I'm gonna do my bachelor degree in major in biology. Thank you.
What about you, Razif?
I'm not Razif.
No, I'm
Razif. Yes, hello everyone. I'm Mohammed Razif, and I'm staying at Balapur. And when there was no opportunities for me to study in India, like as we are considered as refugees don't have any opportunities in India to study for any undergraduate program. So Duolingo come to my life, and Duolingo put light on my life, and I was selected for the Duolingo University Access program, and they have brought light into my life, and I got an opportunity to study higher and go higher.
Yeah, Siraj. What about you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, everyone, my name is Mohammed Siraj Mustafa. I'm a Duolingo scholar, selected last year. So, you know what happens when you are a refugee and don't have the facility to go for the higher education. My parents always have a dream to go for the education because our fate, like bad circumstances that happen to us, and we are having. So education is something that it can change our life. So my parents were dreaming to have the education just for the 4th class,
and no education beyond that. But later on, going to the schools and showing my interest toward the education, like my parents also got passion and interest that our children can go for higher education too. But there were no opportunities, such opportunities. My stories is also similar to these scholars. So but having the interest that you shows always open the people say like when you are determined and you have some power to do something for your community, for yourself, and automatically the doors will open. So something happens like me with me, like Duolingo came, and it's an opportunity, big opportunity, because no opportunities like this is given to the refugees especially. And I got this opportunity to study for higher education, and I'm so glad that I'm selected for the enormous, I should say, enormous university, Georgetown University. And I'm so glad that and also want to say that integration should be a part of our culture. Like refugees should be integrated into this community, so we can have a development not for only the locals but also for the global citizens. So refugees have the circumstances and the bad life, but when we integrate to the locals and we can give a better power and the better development for the locals too and for the refugees. And I should say, like, I'm so grateful and so thankful that Duolingo giving me the opportunity to go for higher education. And that's I want to say. Thank you.
To the end of the event, lunch is being served outside. But if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me.
Is useful for the refugees.
Yeah, so there's two parts to it. Basically, Duolingo is a company that's driven by its mission, which is to make education accessible for students across the world. The Duolingo English test is a high-stakes English proficiency test, which is used for students to get admission into higher education institutes. So if you're thinking of studying abroad, it's a great option to use to prove that you have English proficiency skills. But besides this, which is a test that's taken by students across the country, there's over 1,000 different places where students have taken the DT from in India, which showcases how it's become a very accessible option for students, which is one part of it. The second part of it is how we make education accessible even for refugee students. So we run a program which is called the DT and UNHCR Access Program, where we recruit students who have refugee backgrounds from across the world. India is a very large center for us where we have a strong cohort of students, and we help them through their process to get admitted into universities across the world. Some of our scholars have gotten placed into universities like Georgetown, Northwestern, and have done amazing things at their colleges. So we're going to expect to see this program continue as we move ahead.
Some countries like US are accepting IELTS for the English proficiency. So what about this Duolingo test? Which countries are accepting this?
So the DT is accepted universally. It's accepted by over 5,000 universities across the world. The US is our strongest market, so we're accepted in over 3,200 universities in the US, which is on par with some of our competitors as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, thank you.